Ah, there it goes. I had to switch over to the backup connection for the other platform to get to come back alive. Okay. That's all stuff you're gonna have to iron out so it's less disruptive. Ultimately, is making it so I could do the multi-stream without, like, where these technical issues aren't as bad. But that's why we're doing the experimentation with it now, is to try and iron out all those little issues to try and get it where we want it. It's gonna be interesting looking at the numbers for the stream at the end of this stream, because, like, I'll notice, like, the viewer count will be doing, like, really well, and then, you know, it drops and then it goes down, understandably, and then it comes back up, so it's like it's really hard to gauge how the stream is actually going. Which it's fine, like, I've been out for a while. It wouldn't surprise me if, like, this isn't one of the better performing streams ultimately. The categories would be way oversaturated right now, and unfortunately, there's been a lot of bad PR around this. Some deserved, some not deserved. Most of what I'm seeing, it doesn't feel like it's deserved. Because I haven't had any, like, zooming in and out, which is one of the things that can be problematic in this one. I haven't had much in the way of performance issues, but I have had 2 crashes. But I think that might be either my computer overheating, or it might just literally be the fact that I'm encoding to Twitch, I'm encoding to YouTube, well, I'm not encoding to TikTok anymore. I dropped that for right now for the stream when it started acting up. But I am streaming to multiple platforms. Like, there's a lot of moving parts on my end that might be the cause of the black screens. I wonder if I can do this real fast. Alright. Probably a system level, and it would more than likely be... There's a critical... There's a critical for rebooting without properly shutting down. There was a computer shut down unexpectedly. Da-da-da-da-da. Same deal. But no obvious things are like, hey, this is something super wrong. The rest of the event log looks pretty okay. Alright. Well, it just tells me it's not a driver crash, at least not an obvious one. Like I said, I'm guessing it's like a heat issue. Also, 2 made me chilly, which is wonderful. Well, I saw a traffic accident symbol for just a second over there. That's an interesting design. So, I think for a lot of world, this is a reasonable design. For where I'm at in Florida, I see something like this, I'm like, ah, you wanted troughs of water in your highway. Because this would be pretty non-doable in Florida without some really involved stuff to try and get the water out of there with how much rain we get. It's cool seeing it. I mean, the alternative is you just have it go up and over all this kind of thing. Like, you just switch that out. Or you build the ground up for all of this, so that that bottom trough is like ground level and everything else is raised up above it. It's the double moat, yeah. Because like that is something you will see happen, not this particular pattern, but you'll see in Florida where you'll go to like the highway and it'll actually like, it'll go up a bit before it gets to it, and that's what they're doing, is they're making so you can sweep unders and all that, where it's not just a big scoop for water to collect in. But that's Florida problems. I'm honestly really surprised this works okay. That I've got this water pumping station that's pumping like 30 million gallons a month, and it's hooked up to a lake, and it's totally fine. One would assume I'd either need a ridiculous amount of rain, or this would run dry. Which is the whole reason I set it up like that, is like, I'm curious. Because normally in City Skylines is, there's just the way it deals with water. I have no idea about this one, but in the first one, you just have like a water source object in here that just emanates water, and they would just put those periodically through rivers and all that. And you only find them because you'd sit there and you'd like dam off this side and then dam off the other side and go, why isn't it draining? And then as you like, you know, bisect it more and more, you'd start figuring out where those water resource nodes are. And you can actually keep like shrinking it down using the dam, so you can actually get like all the pumps right at it. But I mean, there's no benefit in doing so. It's more just tinkering and seeing.
This is an emergency broadcast to all citizens.
The Fire and Rescue Service reports that fires are currently spreading in the nearby forest. The billowing clouds of smoke pose a serious health risk to anyone nearby. At this time, all citizens in the affected area are instructed to immediately move to a safe distance until the situation is under control.
Okay, I just saw the arrows. I'm like, what's that? Yes, those are connections. Well, that's weird. They're not even simulating the water outside, which is totally fine, but just like, the water goes here and it's just, no, that's the end of the world. Alright. So we're still losing money. We're not really, like, I don't really understand why they're not moving in more. I guess we can lower the taxes on housing. That's what the taxes started at. Because we're still not seeing a whole lot of increased housing. Like, maybe this is too far off the main...
Advisory has been issued for the immediate area due to poor road conditions. Please exercise caution if you must drive and try to stay off the streets until conditions improve. This has been a local public service announcement.
How delightful!
So they're saying
letter
road conditions are bad, yet they're all bright green? Question mark?
What's up, honey? Me and my sister love you. Oh, that's nice. Y'all got clarinets and violins, but you got something most music these days ain't. Let me guess. Lineage traced back to the great Haydn himself, Let's see here. Y'all got soul. Oh, yeah, soul. A
garbage processing status.
Delicious. My sisters say whoever you got playing the keys got more funk in his pinky. But I told her that ain't funk. That's classical. Yes, indeed. That must be most exacerbating. Classical music has been known since the time of the early explorers. Funk, by contrast, is an entirely modern conceit, and you'll find none of that here. Funk, as they say, is for the lay person. Now, let's hear another one of those soulful cants.
Industry in the region is on
all right, so it's saying that what we've got is we're not processing it fast enough.
There's no sinking this boat, Glenda. We've recently
push the garbage close to chicken farm. They're chickens. It'll work out.
Today we are talking about the increased likelihood that you'll die.
That's not exactly what an increased death rate measures.
Either way, if everybody is dying, that gives me the creeps.
That's a wild overstatement. Are you trying to make people panic?
Did you say panic? She said panic. The death rate is skyrocketing. We've got to get out of here.
You go, I'll stay and clear up the mess. We'll be back after this.
Okay. So, that's what I'm trying to figure out right now is we have a reduced, like, desirability of the area. Camera froze? Of course it did. Alright. That's I probably gotta move devices around because I added the projector on there and it's probably too much hitting the same bus kind of thing. Yeah, so we gotta figure out why the desirability for moving in here that takes so long to get people in. And we're all saying that, like, the, not enough customers. Alright, so let's see... Okay. Oh, this is telling me what leads to demand. Unoccupied buildings reduces demand. Available jobs. Okay, so it's taking a lack of availability jobs. So all that's saying that helps increases. So happiness and students are the big one. Availability of jobs is fine because we got tons of jobs. Oh, we didn't look at city policies at all. Taxi minimum fare, free release program, advanced pollution management. Okay. Yeah, so medicals, like, to me this looks fine. Like, they're not super duper green. Let's see. Yes, we have a couple people who are injured or sick. So the garbage processing, garbage generated to be processed to city. If the generation rate is higher than the processing, garbage trucks can't collect all the garbage from the city. Garbage piling, okay. So that is implying that the issue is my garbage trucks aren't able to collect everything. Which is interesting because in the old game what would happen is when you had garbage piling up, it actually put an icon on the house that'd be like, hey, I'm getting too much garbage. At the same time, I find that curious considering the vehicles in use is only 3 out of 10 and 4 out of 10. Which they have full employees. So I don't really get what's going on with that. Yeah, so we're producing 34.2 tons a month, and we're processing 8.4 tons a month. That's not counting the recycling trucks either. Now, this doesn't have the full number of employees. Vehicles in maintenance, 3 vehicles in use, and 10. Alright. We also adjusted a bunch of the budgets. Put you back to 100%, see if like that's a byproduct of that. Because I need people moving in. I don't really get why they're not. I keep wanting that to be the screen. So happiness. Unreliable health coverage and traffic are the biggest negatives. Which I don't really get right now. Like traffic, certainly. Citizens' wealth. So a lot of citizens are not doing well economically. They're actually doing, frankly, terrible. Like these ones, the average wealth is wretched, is the official stance of it. Unreliable internet service is your complaint. So that, can't tell. Is there a separate thing for internet provision here? No, it doesn't look like there is. Okay, so that's the emergency batteries. We want that for geothermal later. I'm trying to remember where the internet, like, service connectivity, that kind of thing was. Like, I'd expect it to be here, because that's... Oh no, it had some, like, communication thing. Telecom. Radio mast. Okay, so you can see that the radio mast is over there, but because I'm not fully funding it, it is not covering everything. So we put another one over here. We're gonna need to go in here and go to our services. communication, and we will fund it fully. That's over full. You don't get extra budget. Just gonna take that back real fast. All right. Propaganda TV and radio like in Tropico games. Yeah, I look forward to them having more things. They keep complaining about the health coverage. Like I said, this thing is barely getting used, and it marks everything in green. And we don't have anyone who's not getting their medical stuff going on. We don't have like injured people, because it gives you an icon when there's an injured or dead person in a house, and we're not seeing that icon at all. So I do feel like there is some lack of communication that is occurring right now in the game. All right. Yeah, the mail coverage is mostly good. So they're still honestly green, despite this showing as red over here. There we go. So we have the internet coverage, so that fixes that. Okay, so they have nothing but positives. Cool, so they're like they're all positive across the board here. So one would assume that means they're gonna slowly upgrade. Like I said, we've got all the space already zoned for residential and businesses and all that kind of stuff. Just kind of waiting for things to happen. Can we export surplus internet? Sure, why not? It is kind of cool that you can export some. I wonder how, with the chicken farm that I made it this big, I wonder how that's going for us so far as the resource balance production. So yeah, we're doing 38.9 tons a month of surplus chicken, which is pretty fantastic. Meanwhile, we also produce vegetables. We're at a 42-ton deficit on our vegetables, which is our vegetable farm here. And unfortunately, that's not good soil down there. Who's got here? Is the performance really that bad? No. So first of all, I'm on really high-end hardware, so that's gonna be a thing. My understanding, what has been a big deal, is a number of the publications got it. Well, there's a couple things. First, the default settings the game comes with are not good. Like, you just go into your settings, you change a bunch of stuff, and that does help a great deal. Like, turn off VSync, turn off the volumetric lighting, turn off the dynamic resolution, those kind of things. All of that will massively improve your performance. And there's people who've put up entire videos and guides to how to do that. So that's helped a lot. The other thing that happened was the reviews, the version of the game that went out for early review by the press and all that, was the unoptimized version, and they were told it was the unoptimized version, and they still reviewed it like it was the final version. So you've got a bunch of those reviews from the early release did get super negative. Which there's a whole discussion you can have with that. I personally haven't run into much in the way of performance issues. But like I said, it does seem like they made some mistakes in these settings, having the VSync turned on. The dynamic resolution scaling, which is supposed to help you, is nothing but bad news. Turn that off. The volumetric quality settings, get rid of that. All that, you don't notice thing. The motion blur, turn the motion blur off, because who the heck wants motion blur? But I personally haven't seen any performance issues. Now, that said, I have high-end hardware, so I can't tell you how it'll run on stuff below. But there is entire videos out there that people sit there and go, here, I've gone through all these different here's the settings that change, here's all the different hardware you test, here's how they all benchmarked, so you can kind of get an idea where you'll sit. You want me to say this to be blurry? Just like real life? Oh man, while we're in Vegas for TwitchCon, I was noticing, because the vague pollution in the area, you'd look at the buildings really far away that had the windows that show up blue because of the reflection of the sky, but there was enough fog between it, it didn't really look like that kind of glossy. So you look what looked like the whole city, and then someone just put like a cardboard building in the background, like for a backdrop. So it felt like you just like stepped into, you know, someone is in the middle of recording like the latest, you know, Avengers movie where they're showing like New York City, but this one building, you know, Stark Tower is fake because they just had to like add it in. And so just have like the cardboard cutout or whatever. It's a real building, like it's everything fine. It's just the weird effect that the fog, like the smog-ish kind of stuff had on it. It's that thick, Vegas air. Yeah. Honestly, the air pollution wasn't the big thing. For me, the price of everything being like, I come from a touristy area. I'm used to paying more than most people do, and people whine and cry about how expensive things are around here. Like, we feel like an absolute budget bargain bin kind of thing compared to the prices Vegas we're talking about. Like an okay. So we're talking like, here's fast food burger. Here's the next step. This is like okay burger, and then this is like a sit-down restaurant burger. So you're talking that okay burger, like fast casual maybe burger, was like $26 to $28 US dollars. That's not counting the drink or fries or anything. That is the burger. It's like $26. Yeah, I was getting pretty upset with some of the things. Like we got some like genuinely disappointing pasta, and it was still like $18-20. We're talking just like fast food pasta. And again, not counting the drinks or anything, because the drink that charge you $6 to $8 for. Vegas is not my kind of a city. I'm not saying there's anything inherently wrong with it, but for what I wanted a place to visit, stay, whatever, it's just not a good match for me. So we're getting all these complaints about customers. I'm kind of debating cutting back on the actual, you know what we should do? Let's take a bunch of these commercial and get rid of them and make them into a split location. And the reason I'm saying that is because we don't have a lot of demand for that. You don't go to casinos too for the pasta? Get it for crab claws? Well, that's the thing. I was trying to get out of the casinos because the casinos are worse. Like, there's a lot of the places in the casino that are like, you're not in a suit and tie, you can't come in, man. They got a bouncer just like, nah, only formal wear. Like, we walked by some of the things, and like, there was one restaurant, I think the lowest priced item, and again, this is not counting extras, the lowest priced item was $85. And it went up to, it was like $400 and something was the, like, for a single item, which is just like a nice steak. Like, it was like a Wagyu steak or whatever, but it was just like a Wagyu steak. I'm like, I'm sorry. Yeah, what? Yeah. Just go to the casino buffet, they're cheaper than that. Nope, casino buffet, it ran $45 is the cheapest one I think we saw. And I think the most expensive was $85. It apparently, from what I was reading, what Toom was telling me, because she had been to it was much younger, apparently it used to be way, way cheaper to go to Vegas, and the idea is you'd lose all your money gambling, and that's how they made their money. But whatever's changed, it's not that way anymore. Well, I mean, right, but that's the $400 bougie item. But yeah. No, it's an expensive city, is what it boils down to. Yes, there's things you can do where you go like couple blocks off the strip and all that kind of stuff to get cheaper stuff, but then you gotta deal with transportation back and forth, which was a whole second nightmare. If something wasn't along the monorail, you either had to be prepared to walk a mile or pay through the nose for like an Uber. Sounds pretty close to Copenhagen prices, honestly. Maybe I really should consider moving elsewhere sometime. Yeah, I have no idea how Copenhagen is. Like, we have spots here in the touristy areas that, like, individual places that are that expensive, certainly. Like the really nice bougie places and, like, the fancy hotels. But, like, even if you go to, like, International Drive right by where, like, the convention center is in Orlando and, like, all those kind of things, like, even those most expensive areas, you can usually walk, like, 1 or 2 buildings over and get like a full meal that'll cost you $20-30. Like, don't get me wrong, you could certainly buy more expensive things. You can go to a nice steak place or, like, you know, a Brazilian steakhouse and have yourself a $100 meal, but you're going specifically to an expensive place. I need to figure out what I can do to fix this problem. Like, it's not clear what is the issue, but they're, like, really not building more places. And I'm just straight up replacing all of these, like, having no commercial alone. Which should blow up the demand for commercial. So, like, literally, the only commercial I've kept is the hybrid mixed zoning commercial. Which means it should build up more. But, like, it's not implying we're having housing value issues. It's not implying a whole lot of other things. Yeah, so you look at the happiness in the city, and it's straight up green across the board. So it's not happiness. And then you look at health coverage, and it's green across the board, and everything's green up here as well. Like, I don't have anything that's implying it's going, but they're not building new houses. I don't really understand. Like, I've zoned it. No, yeah, actually, you got a car accident. Is there a supply shortage? Not that I've seen. Yeah, so got a traffic accident. I mean, our population does seem to be going up. Gotcha. So the road maintenance vehicle just drove off. The hatchback that got damaged, it just vanished. And then the other person got, you know, it's getting their vehicle repaired. Yeah, it's marked as a crime scene. We already have a police car on the way. Is there some... So, immaterial goods. What does it say for that? Apparently we have 5.6 tons deficit of software. Just all that data is really heavy. We got telecom. Power shortage? No, it's not power, water, or sewage. That all is fine. Like, that kind of stuff, if that's short, we're gonna have people really upset. So, for commercial... rental... Gotcha, this is implying we need more office spaces to cover this need. We have timber we're very short on. We can use more food. So that would imply if I actually set up industry cam down. Yeah, it might get turned off here in not too long since it's continuing to be a pain out of nowhere. Kicked it over now. Then probably some obscure specialty item. Yeah, so normally they don't have that. Like, that's the reason I'm trying to watch some of this stuff. Like, people are ecstatically happy. Let's try opening up the university. And the reason I'm saying try opening up the university is while it's going to cost us a lot of money, it could just be that the jobs we have available in the area require a higher level of education than the people we have in the area. So you get the idea. If you don't have the skill set in your community, and nor are you offering the training to get that skill set into your community, you have a problem. But definitely feels weird that it's not super clear what's happening. The good news is I'm not really seeing the icons anymore of where people are moving out because they can't afford to live there. Is there anything I can do to encourage building, maybe? Because we have the taxes kind of stuff. We have a bunch of money in the bank. Let's just try turning all this back up to normal, see if maybe there's some byproduct we're missing. Because I also don't want to build a bunch of more businesses because we're currently at a situation where we don't have enough people to work the jobs we have available. Oh man, that chicken farm alone takes 111 employees to operate. Ooh. That's, quite a bit. Not enough employees. Yeah, so I think we have to get people through the university, who also doesn't have enough employees. Dropout rate 6%. Let's go live in ancient Northern ruins, said no one ever. You have a message from your citizens. Please block the rain and fix it. Oh, my bad. I've been meaning to work on that whole rain thing. Alright, let's speed things up a little bit. Like, our population is like... You know what it could be? It could be that they just handle the way buildings grow in this game differently. So City Skylines, the original, had that thing where you put down an entire zoned area, and you'd be like, okay, residential demand, you do it, and it would just blast down a whole bunch of houses real fast. So it could be just...
Advisory has been issued for the immediate area due to poor road conditions. Please exercise caution.
I'm also realizing
and try to stay off
these
the
radio
streets until
things
conditions improve.
don't actually
This has
correspond
been
with
a
reality.
local public service announcement.
You're tuned into Second Moon. The channel where the classics never grow up.
Oh, maybe parking?
Industry in the
No,
region
parking
is
seems
on
fine.
the rise, and when business is doing well, that floats our boat.
There's no sinking this boat, Glenda. And on to our main featured story. The commercial district is booming, as the area is attracting more high-end stores, bringing the latest in
Yeah, they complain
luxury
about the
to
road
our
conditions,
neighborhood.
but
You
it's
can now
solid green.
shop for designer shoes while sipping a fancy local Jarva mate, or so my wife tells me. That's good for business and good for the community.
Thanks, Jim. We'll be back after this.
Said living near industrial areas is terrible, is what the person was complaining about. Where are you living? Yeah, so I'm trying to stop. So someone said living near industrial areas. Okay, so Henry here. You're complaining about living near industrial areas? What is the pollution situation? Are you just whining? I feel like you're just whining about nothing. So air pollution, non-existent. You're great. Ground pollution, non-existent. You're great. Noise pollution, non-existent. You're great. Ground pollution, water pollution, non-existent. You're great. Stop whining. Yeah, no, I deliberately, like, this is getting a little close, but they actually have no complaints about the pollution at all, like, that hasn't reached them. I can't afford to, like, go across the street. Hemlock Street, yikes. Where do you see Hemlock Street? I see Hawthorne, I see Kent, I see Linden, I see Oak. Oh, it was on the, Excellent. I mean, the population is just steadily growing. I think my expectations are being colored by what happens in City Skylines 1, and just how you have the rapid growth. But I think it's good that it doesn't go that way, because, you know, people who played a lot of Skylines 1, do you know what the main problem, the main negative of that rapid growth is? Death waves. Where you have that thing where you blew up and you gain like 10,000 citizens all at once, and then they all die roughly the same time. Can you rain that roundabout? Can you name one of the roundabouts? The font circle? I don't get the reference. Maybe. You haven't played it yet, but it looks like starting money is too much. We've actually managed to knock down the money a couple of times. I will say money hasn't been too big of an object, but it does seem like it's very difficult to get yourself profitable. Like, our expenses are 1 million a month, or 1 million a unit of time, monthly, yeah, 1 million a month versus 818, and our taxes are jacked way up. A big part of it is this. The university is costing us 150. Alright, so we're down to 3 students in the university. It's an old movie about an office of the president before the 2000s, of course. Okay. It's right. Well, I mean, I figured it was a reference. Okay, so playground, which improves the well-being of students, as well as everyone within the area. And we have a children's clinic, which improves the health. But it costs 5,000 a month for that and 10,000 for that. So the elementary school is fine. The high school is perhaps not getting enough. And then the university is just straight up does not need that many students. Like I said, the population is steadily increasing. We haven't had it go down at all. Basically, there was a roundabout in the movie that was so atrocious to navigate that basically became a running joke in the movie. Ah, I see. So this creates a well-being of +4 within a 1,000 something yard radius. So move that to the other side of town for right now. put some more commercial over here. And as a reminder, if you do want citizens named after you or whatever, that's fine. We do have a list here that we could check in on how people are doing, so we can check in and see how like Ionek's doing. So Ionek got a new job at Onshore, which turns rocks into minerals. Cool. And they found the one. They're now connected with Nancy Parker. They're currently considered wealthy and educated. You joined the Blue Rock industry? Yeah, you know. Sometimes you just gotta cook. Alright. So you want me to check in on how Darstrider's doing? Darstrider is still an uneducated employee. They work at Fabricos. You found the one in Jinsel Dewey. So you currently turn cotton into textiles. So you're in a clothing, like a textile factory. Oh yeah, the roundabout in Paris is pretty rough. I found the one that was the most troublesome was it's not a roundabout. It's the middle intersection in Chicago, which is I think a 13-way intersection or something like that. But you kind of just pull up to light and you just go, what the is all this? And I mean, the rule is when you get a green light, you get to go. And you just choose, like, you go to any one of the other roads. But it's, you pull up, you just see cars that seem like they're just crisscrossing air and just like, who thought this was a good idea? What do you think about the performance so far? The reviews seem terrible. So for me, I'm having like no performance issues whatsoever. That said, I am on a high-end computer. And also, it's one of those things that a lot of the default settings the game comes with are not good. Like literally go in, turn off VSync, turn off the dynamic resolution scale. And like, there's just a bunch in here. Turn off motion blur, the volumetric quality settings, turn that off. I have heard, I think it was AMD stuff doesn't seem to be going as well with it. There's people who actually sat there and have already done like entire breakdowns with all this different hardware and saying, here's what I got in this and this and this and this, to like give benchmarks and all that. I do believe there's some hardware that's having a problem. So it could be one of those things that if you have like certain ranges of Athlon cards or certain AMD processors or even certain like, you know, you have the wrong hardware that you end up with real big problems. Now, I'm not going to promise everyone's going to have good performance, and again, not sponsored. They did not give me a key. I am not beholden to Paradox on any of this in any of this way. Like, there's no conflict of interest here. But yeah. You wonder if you still have all your fingers working at a textile factory? Probably. So population is still going up. So it's a trend of 12 new citizens per in-game hour, which are fast-forwarding 3 times and all that. I am seeing slowly more houses appearing. None of this is getting developed at all. Let's see, most of the positive reviews are for people with GPUs like the 3060 and the 1660. I think another side of it, hey, camera, you wanna not quit your job, please? I think another part of it is I've heard that like resolution. So one of the things is a lot of people are going, oh, hang on, like this game runs terribly. I'm only getting like 60 frames a second. And you're like, yeah, it's a city builder. You know what? Even 30 frames per second, you're not going to know the difference. It's not a fast-paced, you know, first-person shooter high reaction thing. You're not really going to notice that big of a difference in your frames per second on this one. So 60. I actually have no idea what my frames per second are, by the way. So there's like that whole thing. This guy checking out to see what it looks like down closer. But, so you really don't notice the frames per second that much in a game like this. And that's true of pretty much all Tycoon, City Builders, all that kind of thing. That, as long as you're not getting to slideshow territory, it's not going to be super noticeable. Just curious what it looked like down close. Oh, we got snow coming in. This will be our first snow. But yeah. The other one you have is, again, like the default settings, which is on Paradox. The default settings are not appropriate. They either need to go and have one of those things where they set up where you run the game. It's like figuring out what configuration you should use, where it kind of detects your hardware. It goes, okay, here's where we think your base setting should be. Either they need to do something like that, or they need to be more pessimistic in what people can handle. And I feel like that'll be another one. I've heard there's problems when you're running the game at, like, you know, 4K resolution, all that. And I mean, again, here, like right now we're running at 1080p. I think we can do up to that. Hey, look, does anyone see a difference? I see only the tiniest bit of a difference. But I assume that will absolutely murder that. Now, that's to say, that's for a game like this. I'm not saying, you know, 4K versus 1080p look the same. But in games like Tycoons and City Builders and those kind of things, it's not super noticeable. Your performance is so bad you can't change the graphics down in a 3080? That's rough.
A driving advisory has been issued for the immediate area due to poor road conditions. Please exercise caution if you must drive and try to stay off the streets until conditions improve. This has been a local public service announcement.
Yeah, no, and I totally believe people are having performance issues.
From our erstwhile listeners. What's up, honey?
Gotcha.
Me and my sister love you. Oh, that's
yeah, and that's
y'all got clarinets and violins.
like I did say, it is
on
on Paradox that your default settings are not good. Like they should start much more pessimistically on what they think you can handle, and then you can crank them up. Or again, do the thing that when you start the game, it's like detecting your default settings. Like that's honestly, and a lot of those games I find that detect default settings, even they will be over ambitious in what they think you can handle.
But I told her that ain't funk.
So you're unhappy.
Yes, indeed. That
despite
must
everything
be most
being
exacerbating. Classical music
amazing.
has been known since the time of the early explorers. Funk, by contrast, is an entirely modern conceit, and you'll find none of that here. Funk, as they say.
Okay, so we have actually hit a point where we're finally having like a reduction in people due to death rate. Our birth rate's really high.
We're live, and we're getting reports about a traffic accident somewhere
38 with 64
in the
gigabyte.
city.
Road maintenance
Should be able to run the
services have
menus.
already
Yeah.
been dispatched, and traffic flow should return to normal. But if you're planning a quick trip out,
Oh, that's
you
pretty
might
cool.
want to wait a little while until everything clears up.
If you're in it, you already know about it. No use reminding you. Meanwhile, expect delays and drive safe. And on to our main featured story. The commercial district is booming as the area is attracting more high-end stores, bringing the latest in luxury to our neighborhood. You can now shop for designer shoes while sipping a fancy local Jarva mate. Or
Went ahead and
so
just
my wife
manually
tells me.
knocked him down.
That's good for business and good for the community.
So the industry is
Thanks.
complaining about high rent.
We'll be back after this.
We don't really have a demand for industry. Our most demand right now is for commercial. At least you can watch here. Yeah, I'm hopeful that like in the next day or so. What? Hey, Jet, could you not fly by? Dave Ramsey? But yeah, my hope is that we'll probably see is in the next day or so or whatever. We'll have some yeah. We'll have some like updates come out that'll start cleaning up a bunch of the issues. Trying to decide how I want to try and fit in an area. We have this like weird farm in the middle, which I think we just work with. Actually, let's lean in on this thing. So that way the farm covers all the area worth having it at. You say that, but I played Cyberpunk Day 1 and haven't had any issues, but many people did. Yeah. I never got into Cyberpunk. Like, I heard nothing but good things about it for the most... I mean, other than the performance issues. I heard a lot of people who did get it, like, really were happy with kind of thing. But it's just one of those things that I didn't end up getting into it myself. For no specific reason, it just didn't happen. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and have this go straight up here. Alright. So we're going to have that... We're going to have the literal chicken farm in the middle of our city. Hit the commercial button, just watch that sucker drop. Because I'm hoping as they start putting the jobs over here that maybe we'll start getting more people moved in. Because these households have like 72 households. And while this place does have, or it had 111 jobs, now it's at 143 jobs. That maybe because they have to commute all the way to the other side of town or something, it's a problem. Though Cyberpunk, don't get me wrong, but it ended up with like 2,000 hours in it. At day 1, I had trees that were Z level 0, showed over everything. Dear God, the smell. I mean, or because of how big the chicken farm is, you don't notice the smell because it's so far away. Tractor just rolling around. Those don't look like chickens. Okay, I guess it's like an agricultural, like livestock kind of farm. Instantly, we got all the commerce built up, and instantly the meter refilled. All right, well, let's try. Something like that. And I'll actually leave that open for when we get, like, a big building. Yeah, no, it's one of those things. Let's fix this one spot that doesn't look good. If this was, say, Skylines 1, I'd have the move it mod, and I would just pop over there and just scooch it on over. That's not perfect, but it's a lot better. Alright, so let's pop in here and say... whole commercial district in there. Hey, Infinity Simplex, how's it going? You had a 1080 Ti with the latest graphics. The problem is they screwed up the settings for 1080s. Most popular graphics card of all time. Yeah. Or most popular at the time, not all time. I misspoke. So my hope is as they're building us commercial, that they're starting to fill in the gaps in all the residential over here, because we are gaining population again, and it is catching up for where we were left off. Okay, we are processing trash. Landfill is nowhere near full, luckily. We have industry complaining about high rent. How much has come from industry? A good chunk. Could take it down one notch. Is this a solid City Skylines 2 stream? Probably going to be mostly City Skylines 2. That's most likely going to be what's going to happen on channel for at least a day or so or whatever. I very much enjoy City Skylines. It's brand new. It just came out. A lot of people are hyped about it. So I'm going to kind of go with that. Because right now, the only games I have, like, existing runs going on is Coral Island. Coral Island are probably done with for right now. Because they did announce that the 1.0 release is happening in less than a month. And it will be a save reset kind of thing. They are going to let us New Game Plus it, where we keep just our money, is what's going to end up happening for that New Game Plus. You know, so you don't lose all your stuff, but you will lose all your relationships and all the other progress. Which is a pretty big bummer, because it is one of those things I'm going like this, where it's like, okay, well, I'm definitely doing it on launch. I kind of wish I hadn't put all the effort into finishing all the things, thinking the save file would carry forward. But to be clear, I was under the impression that the next update coming for Coral Island was going to be just the winter festivals, and then I was gonna have to wait for like another 3 months for just like the relationship stuff, and another something months for the end game, and we're getting all of that like in less than a month. So I'm like, okay, I'm glad that it's not something that's gonna take the next 6 to 9 months to happen, but also kind of screwed me on that one timing wise, but that's fine. I feel like because having it be like actually done and out kind of thing, I'm gonna be a lot more motivated to take the time to put in the effort in the relationships, because we'll be able to be, you know, marry and have kids and all those kind of things. And it should be fun. But it does mean there is going to be where everyone just saw me do that, and like less than a month later, I'm gonna go through it again with more. They also said the 1.0 version that they've made very significant changes to the early game. I don't know how actually significant they are, but they've stated that they have, which changes the entire way it feels and plays. So it might feel very different. I mean, it might be like, oh yeah, absolutely, that I get why they did it. It was bothering me more than it should have. Okay. You can always come back after they release the final version. Yeah, I mean, this is the final well, not the final version, like the 1.0. I do feel like, since I'm someone who's promoted the game, and that there's definitely people who tune in that they came in for Coral Island, it feels like it would make strategic sense for me to make sure I do a playthrough for launch. At least that's what I'm going in my head. Plus, I like the game, and I really want to play the game, and that means I can actually finish the game. So instead of right now where it's like, well, I can get all the way to like barely B rank or high C rank or whatever, and then you're like done with the current version of the game, you know, you'll actually be able to get the city to like A or S rank or whatever, and like win the game, 100% it, whatever. Because that could also be the fun, is I could market that I'm going for the 100% or whatever. That'd be fun. Oh, we don't have mail delivery over here, do we? Let's see what we can do over here. Was that under this one? No. There's research as a separate category. That's interesting. Oh, it's under communication. That's right. There's a category called communication here. Okay. Go tell them ooga booga. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna regret it all if I end up playing Coral Island again. I do have a feeling there'll be some people who are like, oh no, not this again, and like, we'll deal with that. But I mean, that's honestly true of any game I play. Like any game they play for more than 5 minutes, there's gonna be some people who complain about it. I'm not very worried about that, though. It's so weird, the balance in some of these things. Just hear the vibes? Yeah. Well, that's kind of the thing you aim for more than anything as a creator. It's like, cool, you want to play games that draw people in and that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, the important thing is getting people who keep coming back. Oh, that was, so we had the announcement for the hot potato schedule and all that, and I won't spoil any of that kind of stuff because I don't know how much I should or shouldn't say. But, a bunch of us were chit-chatting about stuff and, like, who was positioned where and what was going to happen. And the person ahead of me was like, I'm going to deliberately start a fire before I pass it over. And I was like, no, I need.
Advisory has been issued for the
That's
immediate
fine.
area due to poor road conditions.
And I was like, no, I have a reputation to keep. Like, I've managed to fool people to thinking I'm competent in RimWorld. You know, don't shatter this illusion on me.
That was truly superfluous. Masterful counterpart. You're listening to Second Moon Radio, the station of levitated tastes. Don't touch that dial.
All right, so how
we're live, and we're getting reports about a traffic accident somewhere in the city.
Road maintenance services have already been dispatched, and traffic flow should return to normal. But if you're planning a quick trip out, you might want to wait a little while until everything clears up.
If you're in it, you already know about it. No use reminding you. Meanwhile, expect delays and drive safe.
Industry in the region is on the rise, and when business is doing well,
I actually have
there's no sinking this boat.
I actually have no idea what what's like how the water physics in the game work. I'm under the impression they've changed how they work, but I haven't interacted with the water enough to do anything to like confirm or refute or whatever that. But I believe they did make changes. I just don't remember what they were, or how substantial they are, or yada yada yada. So I was looking at is, let's look here, production. So I'm making way more chicken than I need. Well, agriculture, livestock, whatever. So I assume if I switch this over to... Yeah, it's a shame I can't just, like, flip this to be a different location. So how much are you making of this? I don't know. Basically, my thought is converting some of this stuff over here into different crops kind of thing. Cam is down. Yeah. Oh, drop frames? No drop frames on my side. The camera being... Wait, actually, is the camera frozen? The camera's not frozen. Let Del Sol know that, that's in their end. Thank you. Yeah, so let me go ahead and, I think we're gonna get rid of this chicken farm. Or, it's got a chicken symbol. This livestock farm, and we're gonna change it into making cotton or vegetables, probably vegetables. And also, all of these businesses here on the road, they're gone. They're mad at me for getting rid of their businesses. I would have never guessed. Why would they be mad at me for closing their businesses? Come on. That's what I thought. So sometimes it doesn't build the specialized building for some reason I don't know. There we go. Now I've got that one who's going to do veggies instead. We go over to this one and get rid of it. And then we're going to go down here to cotton. All right. Cool. All right. Oh, no problem. Sorry, I missed that. Let's distract for a little bit. Yeah, distractions can be your friend. They can also prevent you from getting the things you need done, but they can be your friend as well. Alright, so we're doing pretty okay here. We've got the snow rolling in again. So we need more customers. But we do actually have a lot of demand for things. Taking a short break? Absolutely no problem. So I guess we'll do here. Oh, you don't need this. All this back here doesn't need to be one way. Just the in out. Yeah, just the in out. I want it to be one way. And honestly, I'm not gonna worry about those being one way right now. We can flip it if we need to later. But what we are going to do is pop over here. What? Okay. That was weird. Okay, so we got all that. For right now, I think we're just gonna plunk down. They want low density housing. So I can flip that to European style. We're gonna put down some low density housing here. Oh yeah, the moment I put that down, everything's just shooting up building wise. Let's also grab another park. Actually, they're doing pretty good on all that. Put a small plaza over there to boost the businesses and everything in the area. Surprisingly, it's showing it boosting all the way over here too, which is a little weird. Look, I've discounted your rent a whole lot. I can only discount you so much, friend. I do ultimately have a university to pay for, and we are nowhere near a sound budget yet. Considering the universe's faculty is going to be about the same as the number of students for the moment. But we're getting there. Slowly but surely, our elementary school is starting to get enough kids in to start taking them to the high school, who will then go to the university. So eventually that's going to get hit by about 500-ish students, which will be good. Oh, that's no good. We got 2 muscle cars collided over here. And then an accident between a motorcycle and a semi. I have a feeling we have one less citizen in our town. Because motorcycle and semi accidents seldom work out to anyone's favor. Does he ask one of the ladies that works for your school? That could be by old school. Surprised me by saying she was rooting for my old school. You asked one of the ladies that works for the school that got beat by my old... Oh! Like, in like a sport competition or whatever. Okay, yes. Physics just aren't there for that kind of accident. Oh yeah, no. The physics between everything okay and everything is dire is usually not that big of a gap. We're waiting for an ambulance in the middle road. That is a lot of motorcycles. Who are all kind of being jerks parking that way. You should. They need to have like dedicated motorcycle parking. We're gonna have that much. Alright, like in the game, I'm enjoying it. It's been good so far. I personally have not been experiencing the performance problems people have been talking about. But so far, the comment before the one I just read. Last Friday, your old school went up against the highest school I'm cooking out of. Gotcha. So you had like a cooking competition or whatever. So the old school went up against. Yeah, I don't know what in context you were talking about, like so far as like soccer, track, whatever. But yeah, no, it's always like I do think there's actual benefit from a healthy rivalry. Football. Yeah, so soccer. I'm teasing. Alright, so we have moved up to a busy town. Then Cookie's like, I have returned with fire. Oh, what happened with Pseudo Swede here? Pseudo Swede saying... Maybe you're the right person, Travis, really? But this isn't the right time for us. I'm so sad, but I'll just have to go. Aww, it didn't work out. Speaking of Chimkin Senchi Cookie, it's a giant Chimkin farm. A giant Chimkin farm. I mean, technically it's a livestock farm. But, Chimkin. Okay, so we have demand for commercial and demand for industrial. Oh, does that mean I can get the bigger commercial zones? No, not yet. That has to be a great town. We're just not a great town. We're just a normal town. So we could do ore mining, coal. We can't do oil yet. We're almost able to reach this stone over here to mine the stone. You know what? They just keep opening and getting rid of those again and again. So we're shortening that road. And it'll slowly consume that. And you're making grain over here. We have grain, cotton, and vegetables. How are we doing so far as production? So we're still producing 85 tons of chicken to export per month. So that's pretty generous. We are above water on the amount of cotton, so we're exporting cotton. We are importing vegetables, and that's just the way it is. These ones we haven't had access yet, so we're importing all those, and lumber we're importing. And we are producing a lot of stuff. And we still need more office jobs. But like that I think we're genuinely pretty much just waiting on the kids to go through the pipeline of going to school, like
driving advisory has been issued
elementary school, then high school, then university. Our university number of students is slowly climbing.
Try to stay off the streets until conditions improve. This has been a local public service announcement.
You're back with Second Moon Radio, your second musical home from home. So settle back in your chair, pour yourself a glass, and prepare for another hour of musical delight. Tonight
I do like this whole thing where you build your buildings attached to your like you expand your buildings kind of thing. That's a neat touch.
And an aria inspired by the infamous Vivaldi shall be our guide.
And on to our main feature story.
There's 378 people living inside that building, which is fair. That's probably reasonable.
Bringing the latest in luxury
but it's
to
just
our neighborhood. You can now
axe
shop
building.
for designer shoes while sipping a fancy local Jarva mate, or so
Oh,
my
right, we got more points.
That's good for business
Okay,
and good for
so
the community.
we can go after the geothermal,
Back after this.
which I think is going to be the right
Industry in the
move.
region is on the rise,
Geothermal plants
and when
convert
business is
underground
doing
heat into
well,
electricity
that
while generating
floats
only
our
some
boat.
air and
No
noise
sinking
pollution.
this boat, Glenda.
Yeah, so the downside of the hydroelectric in my case is we have rivers that aren't exactly, like, because the whole thing with hydroelectric is you get a body of water above, it goes to the dam, it goes down, and that gravity is what turns the turbines, all the water falling. So where I've got this flat river that there's no real elevation to, I don't really have a good place to put a, like a dam. So this is not a particularly suitable, like, I'd have to build up the land to make it worthwhile, and then, you know, that's its own thing. So it doesn't seem like going after hydroelectric. Solar power would be okay. But I feel like geothermal is going to be our best bet. Not gonna worry about the water. We have the disease control center and all that. Hills discards large underground deposit. Oh, okay, that's kind of cool. So I think what this is this is going to be a way to effectively make renewable ore. So one of the problems you had to say Skylines 1 is once you put down like an ore or an oil duct and you pulled up the materials, it was just gone. And that was just it. You just didn't have it anymore. Which is true of real life. But I think the idea behind this is periodically they'll find like a new place to get materials. This increases the efficiencies of office and industrial. This increases the efficiency of medical. Those are very promising things. I don't think I care about a bunch of those things right now. What does City Hall do in here? Makes a more efficient bureaucracy, lowers the loan interest rate as well as the price of imported goods. So reducing the price of imported goods would be really good for our businesses. The public transportation is all really good stuff. Oh, we could do the Space Center in this one? Okay, that's DLC in the original. Server farm, they can use the supply city with more network capacity. Yeah, so that's for expanding our networks there. We can do park maintenance, large parks, sports parks, tourist attractions. So I feel like that should be able to get us some money. And City Hall should be able to get some money.